Assalamualaikum, konnichiwa, I am Zahra. Welcome to my channel. This is a new series, my answers to not so frequently asked questions. In the same channel, I just finished another series, My Journey to Islam, and now started this one. I'm going to talk casually about some topics related to Muslim in Japan, Reverted, or maybe in my life. And hoping that this series can be the safe place for us to discuss, reflect, learn, and enjoy sharing some experiences or insight. This concept stemmed from my own wish to have someone to chat with casually and honestly about Islam without fearing being judged. So feel free to join me in the comment section on YouTube or SNS, or you can just watch and have fun, hopefully. Okay, question number 1. How it's like to live as a Muslim kid in Japan? I chose this topic because I was working in school and I have many teacher friends, so I have a little bit of insight about it. And if you're wondering if Japan is a good place for your kids or future kids, I hope this could help you imagine or prepare somehow realistically. Answering the question, I have to say there are pros and cons. Let me start with pros, the positive side. I believe Japan is a good place for kids in terms of environment and learning opportunities. Let me briefly tell you why I think so. First, environment is good in many ways. There would be no stress in terms of cleanliness and convenience. Also weather-wise. Besides, people say Japan is safe. I feel like to dig deeper about safety though. In Japan, in most areas, primary school kids walk to school with friends. In secondary school, often bike option is added depending on the distance. High school students would choose walking, bike, or trains and buses. I think this is possible because it's relatively safe in Japan. I used to walk for 30 minutes on one way, so 1 hour a day. And after primary school, I had 20 to 40 minutes bike riding every day for 6 years. It's such a healthy habit, isn't it? However, I should mention that Japan wouldn't be the safest place. Unfortunately, molestation happens too much often, mainly in trains or could be anywhere. Also, flusher is not that unusual. Oh, I didn't know the word flusher, so I googled it. It means exposing the lower part of one's body. Actually, when I was working as a teacher, my students had to see a flusher one morning. 2 14-year-old girls came to school being shocked, and I was so angry to this pervert. So, people say Japan is relatively safe. It's important for parents to teach kids to protect themselves and ask for help when needed. Another pro would be various learning opportunities. Well, I'm not talking about how smart kids in Japan are, but not only those ordinary school subjects. I remember I learned a lot of useful knowledge and skills at school, like sewing, cooking, nutrients, and swimming, which I noticed that in many different countries, these things are not taught at school, so it's up to their parents to teach, right? Also, club activity is a big thing in secondary and high school. Students can select a club which interests them, and generally the options are about 20, like soccer, art, science, broadcasting. I was a member of a brass band club for 6 years, and I learned so much. So it could be fun for kids, and they might find what they are passionate about at early age. If you know more positive side or have good experience, please let me know. Now, coming to cons for Muslim kids in Japan. Or I should say just difficulties rather than cons, because there are ways to deal with each situation, inshallah. To start off, let me just list them up, all that I could think of. School lunch, school uniform, swimming class, staying over events like camping or school trip, music, prayers, hijab, fasting, dating culture, hanging out with friends. I know I named more than pros. Some of them wouldn't be a problem in other Western countries, for example, but in Japan, things are a little different. And the reason is, I think, there is this deeply rooted concept that all people are meant to live in harmony and no one should stand out too much. I've heard it's because Japan is islands and there is only one main ethnicity. We are not used to seeing something different than whatever normal in Japan, right? Or the harmony is so important since the big population live on the small land of Japan. We, historically, have tried to avoid any conflicts with people and live peacefully together. So that's the general mindset that many people subconsciously have, like it's in our DNA. Then, when they see Muslim, we are too different, aren't we? Let me quickly go through each difficulty. 1. School lunch. Obviously, it's not halal. I talked in a different video too, but I also stopped having school lunch when I became Muslim. But don't worry, I've heard Muslim parents make bento lunchbox for their kids. But kids could be sensitive, right? They would want to have the same meal with their classmates. So I met one Muslim mom. She let their kids have at least the same rice or bread that come every day on school lunch plate. And she makes their supportive dishes instead of completely stop the school lunch. It's a brilliant idea, I thought. 2. School uniform. Boys wouldn't face any issue with uniforms, but girls might. Most of secondary and high school have their own school uniforms, and the default uniform for girls is knee-length skirt and socks. So I've heard some Muslim girls wear tights or leggings, or go for slacks. This slacks option is getting more common than before because of LGBT awareness, and I also had my female friend in high school who chose to wear pants instead of skirt. Otherwise, you would be able to find schools without uniforms as well, although there are less. 3. Swimming classes. Teaching swimming is mandatory in the curriculum for primary and secondary education in Japan. Students have to wear a swimming suit, and you can easily imagine it's too much for some Muslim, right? But here's the bright side. These days, school is getting more flexible and understanding towards differences. So I've seen there are long-sleeve swimsuits available too. Also, changing could be an issue too. I remember boys and girls change in the same classroom when I was in the primary school. So if you come across any concerns, it's good to talk to teachers, and I'm sure they would be able to provide a separate room or do something, inshallah. Personally, I like the idea of swimming classes though, for safety point of view. God forbid, if we get into any accidents, it's better if we can swim. 4. Staying over events, like camping or school trip. This type of event happens 2 times in primary school and 3 times in secondary school. Meal could be an issue, as always. And additionally, bath. In Japan, we have hot spring culture and people bathe together naked. Well, hot spring is amazing though. The quality of the spring water is unbelievable that can even cure some skin problems and moisture so well. Anyway, people don't mind bathing together, and in the event like this, school just book a facility with a huge bath separately for male and female. So kids bathe with their friends. So you should definitely talk to teachers about it, and most likely they would be able to let him or her bathe after everyone or do something to solve the issue, inshallah. 5. Music. There are music classes in school. Well, is music haram? Or just those music which might provoke sinful acts is bad? I am not a specialist, but I guess if you care that much, you might not send your kids to Japanese school. Chorus contest is a big thing in secondary school, so you might feel uncomfortable with it too. 6. Religious practice, such as prayers, hijab, or fasting. The timing kids start these practices would differ in each person, but if they choose to do it, you might need to talk to school about it to ensure that people around him or her respect it. Regarding hijab, I've personally seen Malaysian kids in primary school wear it at school in Japan. But of course, they could choose not to wear it, it's totally up to them. Fasting would be difficult too because other kids don't fast with them. Actually, my brother told me that his Muslim friend in high school fasted during Ramadan, mashallah. 7. Dating culture. Some kids start dating around at secondary or high school age. Of course, not everyone does, but this culture exists, and sometimes even primary school kids have a boyfriend or girlfriend. I know. If you don't want your kids to get involved in such thing, talk to them in advance. May Allah protect our kids, Ameen. 8. Lastly, hanging out with friends would require kids some self-control. I became Muslim when I was already an adult, so I didn't face this frustration. But I can easily imagine what Muslim kids in Japan would have to deal with when they hang out with their friends. When they're small, they would just chat, play sports or games, so it'd be okay. But after a while, they start hanging out freely, maybe in convenience store, downtown, eating out, game center, karaoke. Then there would be some moments that they have to say like, oh, I can't go to the restaurant, or I'll pass, or find alternative suggestion that makes everyone happy. So I really salute Muslim youth in Japan. You guys are paving the way for future Muslims, so thank you for doing the best you can. Wow, that was a lot, wasn't it? I don't know how this episode would sound to you, but I don't think I covered all the aspects. So hey, if you want to add more pros and difficulties, or if you can share any experiences, please leave comments here, Instagram or Twitter. I just want to say those Muslims in Japan are mashallah doing a lot. Each of their effort, patience, and positivity to manage the situation well mean a lot for entire community to motivate each other and hopefully educate people around too, while spreading the message that we are different but we can live together. Thanks for watching this episode. See you in the different videos soon, inshallah. ありがとうございました。アッサラムアレイクム。